place. I'm doing fine, I'm feeling great. You're not my fan, you can't relate. Straight talk going, stays not safe. Before you cross me, look both ways. Leaving the scene with no trace. None in my league, you out of place. I'm not at the top, I'm outer space. Can't eat with us, we're out of place. I'm doing fine, I'm feeling great. You're not my fan, you can't relate. Straight talk going, state to state.
Bonjour, mon nom est Jacques Rougeau et je suis le fondateur de Lutte Academie. Bienvenue à la deuxième édition. My name is Jacques Rougeau, founder of Wrestling Academy, and welcome to the second edition.
Hey Wrestling Academy, this is QT Marshall here down in Atlanta at the NNightmare Factory. We're very excited to see who the winners will be this year, and we'll be here ready to do the work.
C'est le plus grand concours de lutte au Canada. It's the biggest wrestling contest in Canada. Puis en 2023, il y aura 3 personnes qui gagneront 10 000 $ chacune, plus un stage de 3 mois au Nightmare Factory. 2022 was awesome. 2023 will just blow your mind. These are the 34 faces you'll see in the playground. Play us in, Atomic Train.
Guys, you just saw that video for all the contenders for season 2 of Wrestling Academy. And with me here, as you can see on the screen, is none other than the mastermind behind it all, the one, the only, Jacques Rougeau. How are you, sir?
Hey, George, what a great introduction. Not deserved. But anyway, because the mastermind behind me is my wife, my girlfriend.
There you go. You know what they always say? Behind every great man is an even greater woman. And that's the truth for me, and I know it's for you as well.
Oh, well, anyway, and say hi to your daughter, by the way. Always a great, we did a great thing together, me and your daughter. It was awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, school comes first. So unfortunately, she had to do some homework and stuff. But next time you come back on the show, we'll make sure we do another 5 questions 100%.
Oh yeah, she was great. She was great. She's gonna be a movie star.
I know
Anyway,
it. Thank God she looks
she,
like her mother and she's got my gift for the gab. That's the truth.
so listen, yeah, what a great thing, George. I'm so proud and happy to have the chance to present another season, a second season. We didn't know how it was going to go after the first season. It was all new, and that we had such great interest around the world of wrestling. You know, from Australia to Europe, everybody in the States, they followed this competition from the old time wrestlers that encouraged us. I don't know if you've seen the last. Interview that I got from Ric Flair. I
Mhm.
don't know if you've seen that one.
I have.
Amazing, Ric Flair.
I have.
And then that was so fun to see Rick encourage all the Canadian wrestlers and everything. So we got a great gang of wrestlers this year, and a lot are from Ontario.
That's right. We had some Ontario winners last year, of course. We had Matt Black won. We had Jeremy Prophet and Jessica Black from Quebec. And we also had Chris Dillon from out in the Maritimes, which is fantastic. But now, you're right. The crop, a lot of the great talents are from Ontario. Jesse V's returning. Amy Crimson's returning. Plus, we also got a couple brand new additions to the fold, which is absolutely fantastic. I know John Gonzalez is going to be there. And there are so many other names that are just
Magnum.
Magnum
The
McLaren.
Magnum, when he shoots, he never misses.
Absolutely.
You know, I had a chance to meet Magnum. It's so funny because I met him in Orlando. He came to see me with his dad,
Mhm.
you know, who's managing him, and his two kids. His two brothers, young brothers that are doing wrestling. I don't know if you've seen the video of that. It's just amazing. That reminds me of me when I was young. So you know, three generations of wrestling, actually four. So it's like amazing to see all that. But there's tell me some names. I know.
Casey Rufio
Yeah,
Spinelli.
Casey Rufio Spinelli. I don't know if you
Yep,
know her.
I do. She's
She's
been on the show before. She's a legend. She's
big
fantastic.
time contender, and then the Jane M also,
Mhm.
Miley, Miley. I don't know if you Smiley Miley,
Oh yeah, I've
and
had her
then
on the show as well.
Nikita, who is Jane M. I think is Nikita,
Mhm.
and then there's yeah, like you said, Amy Crimson that was there last year. That
Yeah.
she turned a little heelish there this year, which is going to be awesome. And I kind of proposed it to her a little bit to have this new, because she's such a nice person in real life. But I said it ain't going to get you nowhere, you know. And so she's approaching it differently this year. And then there's Shalom. I'm trying to think of all the guys' names. Oh, you know, there's Giant Orion. You know Giant Orion?
Ryan Orion, Tomer Shalom.
Big,
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. Big contenders. I'm trying to think here. Matis Meir from Hawkesbury. You know,
Mhm.
he was there last year, did really good. And KBG, King
Bright.
King Bright. What's his name? King Brandon Bright. King
Mhm.
Brandon Bright. I don't
Brandon
know if you
Bright,
know
yep.
him.
I
Yeah, he
do.
impressed me too in the video. KL Shock, how can we forget KL Shock? You know, he was there last year, made it all the way with Jeremy Profits to the finals in a
Absolutely.
three-way against Matsis Meir. And Jeremy was chosen by QT Marshall live on the giant screen there. And KL did a great job. So I'm thinking of all these. And then I'm thinking, who else? Anyway, there's about 1, 2, 3, 4. John Gonzalez, if you like the salsa a little bit in the ring.
I did. Yeah, I mentioned him earlier. John Gonzalez, Salsa King is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
What
And
a
you know,
great body.
yeah, absolutely. And there's a backstory there too, because him and Matt Black, one of last year's winners, they used to be a tag team back when they first started.
Really?
They did,
I-
yes.
I didn't know that. I
There's a
didn't know
little
that.
so now we got a little bit of competition between former tag team partners. John is going to want to do just as well as Matt did. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh yeah, and then Jesse Bieber. I don't know if you know, like
Oh
Jesse
yeah.
Bieber.
Yeah,
He
the
sings
Canadian.
a lot.
Absolutely. He sings a lot, but he packs, not only does he have great vocal cords, but he packs one hell of a punch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And you know what's fun, George, this year about the competition? I got to tell you what's amazing is there's a couple of things amazing, but one of them is QT Marshall.
Mhm.
And QT Marshall, he last year he was on the finals in the giant screen to choose the four winners. And the next day of the competition, I talked with him on the phone. I was so excited on the way it went at the Club Soda in Montreal, how everything went. You know, we were all so happy the four winners to crown the $4,000 or $5,000 winners, and QT telling them that hey, he's waiting for you guys at the Nightmare Factory in Atlanta. He was saying that live on the giant screen. And so I talked to him the next day, and then I told QT, I said, QT, I said, how did you like your experience? You know, and then the first thing he told me says, we're doing this again this year, huh? And then like next year. So and then I was so happy and pleased, you know. And then after that, and when I went to meet him at the Nightmare Factory last fall, a couple of months ago, to see my four winners. I wanted to go see how they were performing, and I saw them train with Cody Rhodes and Billy Gunn, who used to be the Smoking Guns there with me and my brother Raymond. We used to wrestle him a lot, and then with Carl Pierre, the Quebecers, we wrestled the Smoking Guns also, and then there's QT Marshall, Cody Rhodes, and Billy Gunn. Yeah, Cody Rhodes, Billy Gunn, QT Marshall. Those are the three trainers that were there when I was there, and it was amazing to see the chance to have three great talent like that teaching you. I mean, I had a wrestling school before, but it was always Jacques Rougeau there every week, you know. And but now they got three top wrestlers like that at the Nightmare Factory. So what an opportunity that I saw. I was talking a lot with the guys, Matt Black, Jeremy Prophet, Chris Dillon, and even Jessica Black, who wrestled with the men over there in the training, you know. And they were telling me, and I didn't think of a guy like I was thinking of a guy like Jeremy Prophet, who has like 19 years, I think, of experience, or 17 years of experience, that he was kept telling me like, Jacques, I'm learning, you know, I'm learning a lot. And I was saying, wow, you know, even after 17 years, you know, being with those top talent, you can still learn. So that was an amazing thing to stop there. And I'm going to stop back. I'm in Florida right now. I'm in Orlando, and I'm going to stop back again in March. I became a snowbird a little bit there, George. You
There's
know,
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Running from the snow there. But all that to say that I'm stopping back in March again. I want to finalize a few things because QT Marshall has a big announcement he wants to make for this year. It's a surprise, so I'll come back to you when he makes the announcement. I'll send it to you. It's really going to be very cool. And the other thing I wanted to say is, of course, this year the three winners. There's not going to be four. There's going to be three winners instead. And we already found all the sponsors, but it's going to be three winners of $10,000 instead of five. Huge. So it's like, that's amazing, you know. $10,000, I made that at WrestleMania 10, you know. You know, it's like, and that was in front of like many people, you know, in pay-per-views and everything. So I'm thinking, I know this was a long time back, but $10,000, you know, when you work on an independent circuit like the guys are doing all over the country in Canada, they don't make that kind of money. They don't make that serious kind of money. I know some guys that work for $100 and $200, and some work for free, you know. So it's like when you have a chance to make $10,000, but much more than that. It's all the exposure they're getting from you guys, from all the guys I do podcasts with around the world, and so it's amazing, this competition, and I'm so happy. And George, we can't go without saying that the video you just saw at the beginning of the show, if you have a chance, look at it again, because the sponsors that you see at the end there that are in the, you know, a lot of people just watch the video, and when it comes down to the sponsors, they kind of close the video or they don't look at it, but it's all thanks to them. You know, we have, as of now, George, we have $47,500, $47,500 of sponsors, and we need 50. We're only $2,500 away to get the $30,000 and the $20,000 of airfares that we have from Canada to Nova Scotia all the way into Montreal, this competition. So there's 20 grand for the transportation and 30 for the winners. And all these sponsors that you see at the bottom there are the ones making it happen for all the Canadian wrestlers. You know, everybody's saying, oh, thank you, Jacques, but Jacques ain't nothing to do if it wasn't for all those sponsors giving the money, you know.
Well, the original idea came from you. I remember when we were on the show the last time, you told me about that singing competition in Quebec you watched, and you said, what if we did this? So that idea was yours. These people are helping bring it to life, but the original, the heart that pumped was your idea.
It was amazing. It's amazing. It's a kind of a dream come true. And I was trying to think, I had another something I wanted to tell you about that, but I'll come back anyway, George. But all this to say that it's a great competition. And I'm seeing now I'm noticing there's a lot of, well, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. In the video, when you watch the video, there's a singing group called Atomic Train. That were, you know, that idea I had from Star Academie, you know, about the winners of the singing contest goes to sing with Celine Dion, and so that was the thing that made me think, wow, what if the wrestlers had a chance to do this and to do this? Well, the group Atomic Train is one of the first groups that appeared on the singing contest, the Académie. Comment ça s'appelait donc? Star Academie. You know, Star Academie, the show that brought me the idea. Well, they were on that show, and they became the official tune this year for Wrestling Academy. So if you listen to the song during the thing, it's a hell of a group. They're singing, and what a song!
It's a
What a
good
song!
song.
Playground, playground. That's a playground. I'll tell you, where the boys are in. It's a hell of a playground. And you know what thing? Another thing too. Even last year I had my favorites, but unfortunately I've lost all control and all power, because even if I was trying to influence last year, I was trying to influence like QT Marshall and a couple of guys that I thought they were really good. I always let QT decide. Whoever you think is the best, whoever you want to take the train and all that, in Atlanta, go ahead. And this year it's like, I saw something in the video. If you look at this video again once you finish this interview, go see this guy who does it's become very popular, the 450s in the business, Jimbo. But this guy does a 630. Go check in the video at the beginning. He does a 630, and I'm trying to think. Is Blais is his name? Richard Blais, I think, is his name. Michael Richard Blais, and he does a 630. So if you go watch the video at the beginning, I'm going like, what a move to break your neck. End up in a wheelchair. I'm thinking the guys are really going all out, and I expect to see a lot of action at the Club Soda on May 7th, starting for the quarterfinals, because it's $10,000 and it's 3 months with Cody Rhodes, who's in the WWE right now, and Billy Gunn and QT that are AEW. So what a great window and opportunity for all the Canadian talent.
Absolutely. Plus, I mean, also there was, we got to see Jeremy Prophet when the AEW was in Toronto for the first show in Canada. Jeremy Prophet was there. Jessica Black was there. Matt Black was there. Chris Dillon was there. We got to see them at dark, and it was so cool speaking with you, knowing Jeremy so well, one of my good friends in the business, seeing Matt Black come up and Chris Dillon and Jessica Black. To see them on AEW Dark was fantastic, but just to know, like you said, the knowledge that they're bringing in. And I recently saw Jeremy at a show here in Ontario last weekend. And let me tell you, Jeremy Prophet has always been fire, but the Jeremy Prophet now, this 2.0 after those 3 months in Nightmare Factory, he is on a whole nother level. The guy is just, he was always phenomenal, but now he is like Super Saiyan. He is just insane, Jacques, how good he is now.
Well, I'm sure, when you take, like I said, you take three great wrestlers like that teaching you on Monday, there's 2 courses, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there's 2 courses, so they have like 6 courses a week, 6 lessons a week with these guys. So, and you're talking about the best of the best. So anyway, anything could happen from there. I'm just, another thing, I must be getting old, because you were talking and I'm thinking of something and it just slips my mind, but it'll come back. It always does.
Absolutely.
Anyway. It'll come back.
But you know what? I got to say, looking at the roster that you have now, we have a lot more. Like last year, we had a great crop of talent, but this year we have so many different layers, and I could see so many great matchups that can happen between the big boys, the small guys, between the guys that like a John Gonzalez who's got that figure, but then you put him up against a Tomer Shalom who could just beat somebody down to his knees. There's a lot of levels. I mean, you get Chantel against Amy Crimson. You get Nikita in there against Spinelli. Like, the matchups are mind-blowing that we could see.
I can't wait to see this competition. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be good because, and something that's different too this year. 2 things. Last year we had like 41 inscriptions, and 21 came from Quebec. There was only 19 that came through Canada. There was a lot of non-believers last year. A lot of people boycotted this show because they were saying, oh yeah, $5,000. Oh yeah, 3 months at the Nightmare Factory. They didn't believe in the project. But now that everybody went and they got the money and they saw it, it's like this year we had 71 inscriptions and only like 11 from Quebec. So we got like 59 from Canada. So it's like the word got out in the country, like, hey, this show is real, man, and this is $10,000, and Jacques' gonna pay the $10,000. So not me, the sponsors, but I mean, it's like so there's and the other thing that's amazing too about this competition, I could only tell you last year at AEW too. By the way, there was Jessie V and Chantal. They were booked also. Chantal missed her flight to AEW. She missed her flight. She couldn't make the flight, but Jesse V made it, and he wrestled on the AEW Dark. So QT Marshall chose 2 extra people than the 4 winners to be on Dark, and that happened too. And so all the credibility came this year with a lot of strength behind it. And the other thing too, I wanted that you brought up was very interesting. I'm thinking of my first show on May 7th. I got two guys meeting each other, like the giant Orion is facing Jesse V.
Ooh.
And these two guys, they want the 10,000, but they're in the quarterfinals. So one of them is going to drop out of the competition on the 7th of May. And then, so May, June is the quarterfinals, and then in August is the semifinals, and September is the finals. So what I did this year is I matched up a lot of top competitors together, one against each other at the beginning. A lot of people were thinking, oh, Jacques is going to work his way to keep, it good at the end. No way. I'm putting everybody nose to nose for the 10 gun at the beginning, and whoever makes it through the end makes it through the end.
Absolutely. And I think that's the best way to do it, man. You're talking about those laddered matchups. Like you said, that's Jesse V versus a great, right off the bat, like quarterfinal. You're losing one top tier talent. I mean, everyone in the competition is a top tier talent, but you're losing one right out the gate. Like, that's insane. A lot of times you got to try to stack the deck to the end, but we're not doing that. We're going all out.
All out. There's another match too that we're having there is in the first round of the quarterfinals between the women. There's Smiley, Miley, and Nikita against Spinelli and Chantal. Oh, no. So you're talking about four great talent that are going to go with the head down the next day because QT Marshall's not going to choose. Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you, too. Is QT Marshall said this year that he wanted to be, like when I went to Atlanta this fall, he told me, Jacques, he says, how come it's you choosing always the videos, like, of who's going to be in and out? So he says, I want to be part of that. So I said, okay, fine. So when I went to see him, we chose the videos together, the 10 women and the 24 men. And then when I left there, he said, Jacques, he says, I don't want to only be there for the finals. He says, I want to be on the giant screen for the quarterfinals and the semifinals. He says, I want to be there on every show to choose. So I lost all my power here. I don't have anything more to say now. It's like, we had judges by the ring last year, judging, and I'm taking that away this year because I'm giving it all to QT Marshall. Because no matter what we said last year, QT got on the giant screen. We had 4 commentators, like judges, and we'd give our opinion, and then we'd say, well, QT, what do you think? QT just blew my mind. He went and he chose people that I didn't think he'd choose. And so this year, I'm not going to make everybody believe there's 4 judges by the ring. We ain't no judges. The only judge this year is QT Marshall. So he's the one you got to please. And what I like about QT Marshall, he's an old school kind of guy. You may not know this, but he likes to see the attirement. He likes to see the less is more. Like, he likes to see the professionalism. Like, so he's almost like he's with the brand new generation now, but he likes a wrestler to see how serious he takes his business. You would be surprised to see how many, I got to tell you this. I know QT's going to see this. I don't care. But, we were choosing the videos, and when one guy was really good, I'm sure he was going to, but he had a T-shirt and a pair of jeans. And then he just said, nope, I don't want him. I said, but QT, and he said, nope, I don't want him. Said, he doesn't take his business seriously, his retirement serious. So guys, I'm giving you a warning now to everybody, that's going to be listening to this. You better put some real boots on and some real knee pads and some real gear and trademark yourself. Have yourself some gear with your trademark. I still got to come back to Magnum. Magnum, he trademarks himself so much. Like, he's got his logos everywhere on him, and I don't have to worry about him. But there's some other guys that wear jeans and stuff. I got to send them the message, like, get yourself some wrestling tights, and because he wants the total package. QT wants to see the total wrestler who takes his business and looks very serious.
And you know what? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If you're going to go out there and you're going to represent this business and you're going to go out and you're going to train and you're going to be on a dark whenever that may happen, you're not going to go out there in jeans and a T-shirt. You're going to go out there in your gear. So why shouldn't you be in your gear in the audition video? I 100% agree with QT on that. I do.
And I got to think of something else when I think of Jeremy Prophet and Matt Black and all those guys that when I was getting messages from them from Atlanta before I showed up, Jeremy wrote me one time and he says, Jacques, he says, I'm wrestling in Florida, next week. And then Jacques, he says, I'm wrestling in Carolina, or Jacques, I'm wrestling in Georgia. And I was saying, wow. And Jacques, he says, I'm making all these new contacts, with new people and that. So who knows what federation could get an eye on them, take a look on them. So what a great platform this is. And I know I'm repeating myself, but we had a lot of people. I can't give any working papers to nobody, but I could bring them for 3 months to Atlanta, Georgia, and I could bring them there where they have a great visibility. Where if there's something that's extraordinary, that could happen, then it will happen. And I got to tell you something, just to give you an example. And this is really a scoop I'm giving you, George.
Awesome.
I got to share this with you because you're a real man of wrestling, and so am I. All four that were down there at the Nightmare Factory, Jessica Black, Jeremy, and Matt Black, and Chris Dillon, they were very, very much appreciated, very much. And I'm sure there's a lot of other things that happened. But one time, Billy Gunn's wife is at the shop, at the pro shop. She works there, make milkshakes and stuff like that. So she's there, and she says to me, she says, we're all allowed to have our own favorites. And she told me, she said, I told my husband to recruit Matt Black, like, for AEW. So it may have not happened, or something, but just to go to show that he won, he was seen by Billy Gunn's wife, who said he deserves to be there. That was her choice. So I'm saying that you never know what could happen to you when you're in Atlanta. You never know who's going to see. You never know when on that given day someone's going to say something like that, and it's going to be, there's a hole to fill in somewhere in AEW or WWE or something like that with Cody Rhodes, and I know Jeremy Prophet got really close to Cody Rhodes, so hopefully something will come out of that. And so you never know. So I'm just praying. Like I said, I can't get any working visa or working papers for anybody, but I could just give them a platform to be seen, and just that. I think we're very, very proud. Plus, last year, there's going to be other things that are going to happen. I know QT, like I said, he has a surprise for you. I can't tell you now, but I mean, we had some surprises last year that really made it credible. Like there's this guy in Australia, Zash Man, he's called, and he follows me. He has a podcast. I did his podcast. He says, Jacques, that's incredible, mate. He says, that's incredible, mate. And he says, so he has a company, a toy company. So he made 4 dolls for the winners, like figurines, wrestling figurines. And I remember when I had my first figurines of wrestling, man, I just went crazy. It was the greatest thing. So we never know what's going to come out of all this. So this year is still far. This summer, the more things will add and more. But as of now, the winners will have $10,000 in 3 months for sure with the great guys in Atlanta, Georgia.
Absolutely. And isn't that what the coolest thing about that is like you said, you can't get anybody working visas, but you're giving them a platform and you're giving them a chance to go over there and work and prove and show what Canada has to offer. And that's all you need. Sometimes, Jacques, and I think you'll agree with me on this, sometimes you just need an opportunity. You need a door open, and that's what you're providing. You're providing that open door. And to all of us here, naysayers or not, you killed it last year. It was phenomenal to see your dream come to fruition, and all the sponsors behind you that are backing you, they have the right, they're doing the right thing because it's a fantastic platform.
It's all being at the right place at the right time. And yes, thanks to all the sponsors. And a great thing that happened too, George, a wonderful thing that happened. I noticed, because I've been told by the promoters, a lot of promoters in Canada wasn't aware that they had that talent at a certain place in another province. They didn't. So now they start booking. So I'm seeing a lot of the guys that came from the West are being booked in the East, and guys in the Maritimes are being booked in the West. And I'm thinking of Chris Dillon, who moved to Ontario. Chris Dillon, he just moved, and he's having a big match against Aiden Pringle.
Aiden Prince.
Yeah, Aiden Prince. And I think he's with
Impact.
Big League. Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
So he got to meet him, and he's doing a main event against him now, I think in Cornwall, coming up soon. So all this to say that there's a lot of connections made between promoters who are working together now that didn't know that they were there, and a lot of wrestlers who didn't know the federations were available and possible. So I think this competition is really doing some good for a lot of people.
Oh, 100% it is. And another good thing that came out of this competition, Jacques, is you and I became good friends. I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing at its own level, right?
That's true. You've been very kind. And, I want to thank you so much, George, for responding to my demand of doing this podcast and giving us another platform, because you are giving us a platform. And that's the whole story, is like, the platform is not for Jacques Rougeau, but it's for all the Canadian talent. And so I think we're doing a good job, George.
Absolutely. And it's not a demand. When the Mountie comes to you and says, listen, I want to come back on your show, who'll be stupid enough to say, no, absolutely. You come back anytime. I told you, once you're on the show once, you're part of the Straight Talk family. Absolutely. 150% guaranteed. Now I gotta
Well, the
ask you,
only
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm looking at all these wrestlers behind you, these pictures. You got to get one of me there somewhere.
I absolutely do. I absolutely do. I have to.
I want people that come on the podcast. They see, you know, I think is that Nikolai Volkov there that I see on the left there, the red shirt. Is that Nikolai behind you?
Oh, up here? No,
Yeah.
that's Dax Harwood.
Okay. So I don't know. So anyway, you need to have my picture there, the Mountie there, something like that, or
Right
yeah,
there.
yeah, right there. You need to get that. So maybe in next year at the end of whenever the next podcast, surprise me and get me a little picture of the Mountie there, George.
Absolutely. You got it. You got it. And then I'll meet you in person and I'll get you to sign it 150%. And my apologies. That's Cash Wheeler. I'm a big fan of, you know me, I'm a big tag team guy. So Dax and Cash, FTR, they're one of my favorite tag teams right now. They're amazing. They're
I hope,
fantastic.
George, I hope sincerely, George, that you have a chance to make it to one of these shows at the Club Soda in Montreal and to come meet QT Marshall. I'll personally make sure that I introduce you to him, and just to come and see how, you know, when you're wrestling for $10,000, you know, you have no idea how the crisp in the air, like, you know, and the first class act of everybody, all the wrestlers, female and male. They are just class act. Everybody's so nice to each other. Everybody's so generous. I made a point to make sure that everybody that entered this competition, it was all about respect. It's not about bad mouthing or stabbing, backstabbing. It's all coming in there and getting in the ring with your opponent and make him shine the most you can. Give him a chance and he'll do the same thing for you. And that's what we had last year. Everybody that came to the competition, it wasn't a give and take. It was a give and give. Give and give, and everybody gave and gave and gave, and everybody had a chance to shine and do their thing. They had their 2 minutes of glory, every one of them. So that's a great competition. And this year, with this big prizes and things happening like that with the wrestling school again this year, I can't imagine how intense it's going to be backstage when. Oh, that's what I wanted to say too. This is amazing, George. I got to tell you this. This is great. Last year. You wouldn't believe this because I did this with every match on the card. I got on Zoom like we're doing now, like a month before the show, and I put up the match with them. I made sure that everybody looked good. I was listening to them go over the moves. I was suggesting moves. I was creating the matches with them. This year, nothing. And this year, they're coming to the Club Soda like they're coming to an event. And I'm going to put them together. I'm going to say, go out there and put me a nice show on. No more advice, no more nothing. It's like, because I want to see what they're made out of.
Absolutely.
And I want to see. So they got to prove themselves this year. So it's going to be amazing to see not only the battle in the ring, but it's also going to be the competition in the ring, but it's also going to be the competition in the dressing room, putting the matches together, the respect they're going to have for each other, the intensity, you know, that's going to be like, you know, you know, I hope I look good, or they won't have time to think about it. It's going to be the same day, so it's going to be spontaneous. It's going to be extraordinary.
Absolutely. I can't wait. And you know what? I'm going to take you up on that offer. I'm going to come out. I know I'm going to see the days ahead of time. I'm going to try to make it out to one of those shows so I can definitely see what it's all about and experience it, and then meet you in person and get my picture to put right there. You see that?
I'll have you VIP, George. When you come with your daughter, I'll have you VIP. I'll have you guys set up VIP right in front of the ring so you can enjoy the show, and I'm sure you'll have a blast, and you'll get to see how great people, how great the talent is, but not only in the ring, but outside the ring. We got a great organization. It's a small organization, but it's great people working everybody together, and the atmosphere in the Club Soda, the 400 people that are there, because there's only 400 people. It's like a dungeon. It's amazing. You'll see on the commentators that I got the baby face and the heel commentator in the ring, you know, so they're teasing each other, playing around with the crowd, but at the same time, they're all gunning for the $10,000. So, you know, it's going to be very intense.
Absolutely. Now, I got to ask you this question. Will any of the former winners possibly be joining commentary for 1 or 2 episodes? Will that possibly happen?
Absolutely. My plan is exactly. It's funny that you're saying that, because my plan is Jeremy Prophet's going to be doing the commentating with me, but I'd also like to invite the others to come and just for one show each to come and have the fun, to share the experience they had at the Nightmare Factory, and
Absolutely.
just seeing that from the outside now, since they're the winners now. But they're going to have some favorites because there's a lot of guy from the Maritimes that joined in this year because of Chris Dillon, and a lot of new people from Ontario because of Matt Black, and so it's gonna. I'm sure Matt Black's gonna be pulling for the Ontarians. It's almost gonna be like a Canadians Maple Leaf game in hockey. But anyway, all that to say, it's gonna be amazing to have their comments, the before, the during, and then after, coming to see after the Nightmare Factory, after experience, and after everything they've lived, to share that with the talent in the dressing room, because the 4 winners that are going to be on place on site. Well, everybody, all the new wrestlers that are joining in, they're going to look at these 4 guys with a lot of respect because they won the competition. So they're going to want their advice. They're going to want to have some input from them. So it's going to be very exciting.
Absolutely. Now, like you said, you lost all your power, so QT is going to kind of choose everything. But looking at the competitors that you worked out with QT to see who he liked and who he didn't, do you have anybody that you kind of got your eye on that you're kind of like, this person can make it to the finals?
It wouldn't be fair to say that. I got so many, but you're putting me in a bad position. But there are some talent there. I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and look at the video one more time again.
Absolutely.
I'll let you look at them. Go on YouTube, and all the wrestlers that are here, they have their own YouTube and Facebooks and stuff, and go check them out. There are some that are really, really ready to go for the big leagues. There's a bunch of them. And some of them, and a lot of them, are just missing a little something that Cody Rhodes and Billy Gunn and QT Marshall could bring to them at the Nightmare Factory to get them ready. So it wouldn't be fair for me to choose, but you're putting me in a bad spot, George. But
I had to ask. Listen, I have some favorites. I'll be honest, I have some favorites. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
But you'll see out west in the girls too. It's amazing, the Triple R's, the Relentless Riley Rose. You'll see. I'm thinking of Zoe Zager. I'm thinking of J&M. I'm Nikita. I'm thinking of Spinelli. I'm thinking of Chantal. I'm thinking of Amy Crimson, who got a lot better and got more experiences. And there's 10 of them, and they're all good in their own way. But there's some that you look at them, and you look at them. They got they go out, they go all out, and I think that's what it's all going to be out. I think that in wrestling, there's one thing you got to remember, George. You're only as good as your last performance. And you could be the best wrestler. You could be one of my favorites that you say, I think, but if they're on an off night, if they have a bad night, it's too bad they just miss. And you could have one that's not my favorite that just comes out and everything just rolls and everything just clicks. So it's going to be very it's going to be hard to choose. It's going to be hard to predict. Unpredictable, that's the word. So when you have $10,000 on the line, it's very unpredictable. And there's a lot of these talent that I don't know what they're made out of. Like, how do they take the pressure? Like a lot of the wrestlers are wrestling for, like I said, a couple of $100 a night. And they go out, they have fun. It's more like having fun a weekend. But when you get down to a competition, nationwide competition like this, seen around the world, in every podcast around the world, and then having a chance to go there, pressure builds. I remember when I was in WrestleMania. No, it wasn't WrestleMania, but it was when at the Pontiac Silverdome in front of 93,000 people when Hulk was wrestling the Giant. 93,000 people, and I was on that card with my brother Raymond. And I remember it was so big that you had golf carts bringing us to the ring. It was such a big event. It was a WrestleMania 3, actually. That's what it was, WrestleMania 3. And I remember the only thing, if you ask me of the whole match, the whole show, I don't remember nothing. But the only thing that comes to mind is when I was in the dressing room about 2-3 hours earlier, and I was trying to tie my boots, but my foot was jumping like this, and I was trying to put my laces in the hole because I was so freaking nervous, because it was the pressure, and so how are these newcomers, these young talent and older talent, are going to handle the pressure is going to be probably a decisive way of QT Marshall choosing them or not.
That's some great insight right there. You're absolutely right. The pressure can make or break someone in any instance, in any circumstance, especially with $10,000 on the line and a 3-month ride at the Nightmare Factory.
Last week I was in Saint Martin. No, not Saint Martin. Comment ça s'appelait la ville que j'étais la semaine passée? St. Thomas, Ontario, for a charity, for the Special Olympics. And I had a chance to meet Doug Gilmore, and we talked a lot, and I Frady, and those guys they're legends, and we were talking, as a funny, we were talking about pressure, like, you know, that goal that Doug Gilmour scored there. I don't know if you remember the iconic goal he scored when he came from behind the net there, and he the pressure, you know. So it's all going to come down to big pressure. Now we're in the month of January, approaching February, and we're talking February, March, and April and May. So we're about 3-4 months away from the competition.
Mhm.
And another piece of advice I want to give for those who are listening, very important. To all you talent that is going to be joining in here, I would suggest a couple of weeks, maybe at least 1 week before show, not to book yourself nowhere else. In case of an injury, in case of, you know, give yourself a week, but maybe 2 weeks. Don't book yourself the weekend ahead of time. Just prepare yourself, go to the gym, do your cardio. 2 weeks before a match, you're not going to lose your ring cardio. But if you're worried about that, because, you know, you go in the gym all your life, but when you get in the ring, the cardio is not the same thing at all. It's not the same cardio at all. You could be on the gym every day for 2 weeks, but if you haven't been in the ring for a month or something like that, the pressure and the tension, it builds your cardio where you blow up all the time. It's an expression we have in wrestling. You just blow up. You're missing air. So between a week and 2 weeks before the show, nourish yourself. Be careful. Don't slip on ice. If there's still ice out there, probably won't be any ice in May. But anyway, but all that, unless you're in Newfoundland. But anyway, all that to say that take care of yourselves and take care of that body, and then don't mess around. Don't do any, and don't go playing baseball the week before, 2-3 days, and you could twist your ankle or something, because this competition may change your wrestling career.
Absolutely. And that's great advice. And I think that's a great way to end this. Jacques, I got to ask one more favor because I missed a chance to do this last time. If you could look in the camera and you give me that Mountie energy and say you just had a killer conversation with Straight Talk Wrestling, and people should subscribe because you had so much fun.
Hey, you guys, this is the Mountie, and I just had a great interview with George McKay at Straight Talk. And remember one thing, like George McKay, the Mountie always gets his man. How was that, George?
That was amazing. That was perfect. That was fantastic. Mr. Rougeau, it's an honor to have you on the show. It's an honor to call you a friend. It's an honor to have these continued conversations.
Stop it. Thank you. Thank you for your help. Thank you for your help. And on behalf of all the Canadian wrestlers, thank you, George, for your help.
I appreciate that. All right, guys, tune in next week. All the links are in the socials below. And we're also going to throw in that Wrestling Academy link as well, so you can check out all the competitors, keep up on all the news as we get closer to the competition. And like I did at the beginning of the interview, I'm going to go ahead and play this interview, that awesome video at the end of this conversation, so you could soak it in and get to know all the competitors one more time. So for myself and the one and only Jacques Rougeau, peace, love, and wrestling. We'll see you guys next time. Check out that video.
Bonjour, mon nom est Jacques Rougeau et je suis le fondateur de Lutte Academie. Bienvenue à la 2e édition. My name is Jacques Rougeau, founder of Wrestling Academy, and welcome to the 2nd edition.
Hey, Wrestling Academy, this is QT Marshall here down in Atlanta at the Nightmare Factory. We're very excited to see who the winners will be this year, and we'll be here ready to do the work.
C'est le plus grand concours de lutte au Canada. It's the biggest wrestling contest in Canada. Puis en 2023, il y aura 3 personnes qui gagneront 10 000 chacune, plus un stage de 3 mois au Nightmare Factory. 2022 was awesome. 2023 will just blow your mind. These are the 34 faces you'll see in the playground. Play us in, Atomic Train.
to my playing ground.
Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to tune in next week for another great episode on all available podcast platforms and hosted on Podbean. Also, check us out on YouTube at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Instagram at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Facebook at Straight Talk Wrestling, and on Twitter at _Straight Talk. And if you feel the need to buy some sweet merch, check us out on ProWrestlingTees.com.
Leaving the scene with no trace, not in my league. You out of place. I'm not at the top, I'm outer space. Can't eat with us, we're out of place. I'm doing fine.